Hey, welcome to the Cam and Otis Show. We're a father-son business podcast where we talk with other lifelong learners about making an impact and solving big problems. Man, and I always love that because making an impact is what we should all be striving to do. And speaking of which, Kim and Scott Goyette are joining us today. How are y'all doing?
Hey guys, hi Otis, hi Camden. So glad to be here. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a perfect day to be here with you guys, and we're glad you're having us.
Yeah, I'm excited because you're going to make me push into things that I hate talking about.
Oh, yeah.
That's the touchy feely going, loving people and being nice, and folks that know me know that's we're pushing the envelope for me today. I'm already uncomfortable. Those painkillers that you're on, Scott, I might have to borrow some to get through the show.
So if you look, right now on the screen as we're recording, you're actually between us. We're gonna just keep giving you virtual hugs in between every
Yeah,
Oh
conversation.
God, stop
We're gonna
touching me,
we're
man.
gonna lean
Stop
in.
touching me.
Feels gross, right?
it's a love sandwich. Love sandwich.
Oh man. Hey,
Oh,
and
it only hurts when I laugh. We're good.
folks out there in radio land, I'm turning red as a beet right now. So, yep, I'm heading into uncharted territory. So, and all joking aside, though, I'd really love to. Dang, there's that stupid word. See what y'all are doing to me? I'd really like to, a lot,
Okay.
get into what was the catalyst? Why? I mean, this and trying to get out of my joking about it because that's how I handle things I don't like. Uh, but but how did this come about? What was the catalyst? I mean, were y'all sitting around the kitchen table one night or what to create this Go Love Now business?
Absolutely. So this is an interesting story. Both Kim and I were in the world of sales, and like all of us, we were human doings. We were no longer human beings. It was all about I've got to do this, I've got to do that, I've got to get the next sale. We've got to make a bunch of money. And Kim will tell you her exit from corporate America, which moved her into what she loves doing. And I'll tell you how we came about the Go Love Now name. So Go Love Now literally came to me when I was sleeping one night. So, many of us, I wish there was a better story that was more fluffy, but the real story is one night I was on Ambien because I couldn't sleep because I had been working, so many hours trying to like make your numbers. It's the end of the month. And I was asking a question that many people will ask, and I know people listening will ask this question. Is this it? Is this it? We've made a few bucks. We've got the money. We get to take the vacations we want. We're living in a house. We're the big boys and girls now. This is our house, not mommy and daddy's. And we're like, is this it? And I went to sleep feeling miserable. And I woke up and I had a notepad and it said LOVEFEAR and golovenow.com. Well, it turns out I bought the domain name golovenow.com, not knowing what the heck that was. And love as an acronym means listen, observe, voice, and empathize. And for those listening, I just pointed into my ears, my eyes, my mouth, and my heart, because those are the spaces where we really touch into the world. That's how we connect. Those are our senses. And then the fear component of this was forgive, eliminate, accept, and rise up and be resilient. And so at that moment, I knew that I needed to get out of sales and I had something bigger. But guess what I did? Because Otis, we're guys, we do the same thing. I go, ugh, this doesn't feel good. So I went back in, hit my quota. It took me a while to process what the hell just happened. Now, Kim's story of how she came into love and her passion was a little more abrupt, and I'll let her tell hers.
I
But that's
love the
how the
fact,
name came.
Scott. I love the fact that you did the true guy thing after you had the
It wasn't an
epiphany.
instant awakening. I was like, "Who the hell wrote this? Who stole
Yeah,
my
yeah.
body?
Well,
Who?
you
How do
have
I
this.
have this domain, the domain name?"
Yeah, I have an epiphany of I should go do something else. But then you go back and you hit your sales quota before you go do it.
Yeah, of course, because you know what it is. The irony is the operative of those two words. The most important was fear. Like I knew you had embraced love and used fear as a springboard to move on. But I looked at him like I ain't stepping on that. I'm not using that as a springboard. So I I went to my natural state of fear instead of moving forward and embracing a better reality. And so Kim, like many women would do, she received the lesson. She actually didn't have any choices. Let her tell her story, but the way she moved into that passionate next phase of existence was a little different.
Yeah, so I was in a high pressure sales job as well. And in the early years, I was like, I could do this forever. But then I noticed myself starting to change over time, and I wasn't myself anymore. I didn't have the energy to do the things that I loved. And it was getting really, really intense the more I let it go. And essentially, long story short, the universe kept giving me signs. I didn't listen, kept giving me signs, and essentially just slapped me in the face. And I had to leap from corporate America. And so I took about 3 months off and just sat with myself and said, what do I want? And our daughter was really young at the time. She was in kindergarten. And of course, I wanted more time with her because I was traveling all the time, feeling like I was missing out on her life and her growth. And so I created this business called Meditation Mother, and it's all about yoga for everybody. So it's really embracing and loving for everyone to step into a yoga practice and a self-care and nourishment practice that helps support their personal growth and their journey. And in that, I teach yoga retreats all around the world. Locally, I teach women's retreats and really try to inspire people to live the life that they want to live. So yeah, it was abrupt. It was a wake up call because I wasn't listening, and I, now that I've been in it for 10 years, it was the best thing I could have ever done.
After the wake up call, what does that first week look like? Take us to that first week, because this is what I'm always interested in. It's like, hey, like I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go start this business. I'm going to go start this whatever it is, and it's like, all right, go. Now what?
Yeah. So it's horrifying, I have to admit. So I was making probably the most money I'd ever made in my entire life, and then to leave that, the golden handcuffs, right? That, they're holding you. You're like, oh, the money, can we make it? All this stuff. And essentially what happened was, I took 3 months off. We kind of just sat with it. And I visualized exactly what I wanted. I wanted more time. The time that I was going to work, I want it to be, I call it the most bang for your buck. Like I want to work less, get more, so that I can have more time and quality with my family, friends, things that I love to do, and things that inspire me. And so little by little, it didn't happen the first day or the second day, but over time I kept thinking, oh, okay, I'm ready for blank. And then all of a sudden the universe would bring it to me. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to fake it till I make it, say yes, and do the next thing. I'm ready for blank. And then it would just keep coming to me. And over time, I built the confidence to just say yes and know in myself that I'm going to figure it out. And then 10 years later, in the beginning, when I first started holding retreats, I was begging people to come to them. No one knew me. No one knew, what my retreats were about. And then over time, I'm holding more and more retreats, and by word of mouth, because of other people's, good experiences, that they fill up. So I feel very blessed and lucky to be in this space, but it did not happen over time. And I talked to many people that are starting out in the same boat that I was in 10 years ago. And, they see me now and I'm like, well, it was a process, and it was a painful one and a growing process and all those things. So just stepping, like Scott said, stepping towards your fear and moving through it. It's literally, my happiness level is 10,000 times than it was before. And I could have never dreamed what it is. The universe really just kept stepping up and providing all this magic. So, yeah.
Scott, I was the guy side. It's not as easy. I mean, honestly, and there's no labeling or anything, but that's just the way we grew up. And we got to do this. We got to provide. That's a big risk to take on, especially since Kim stopped the paycheck roll also, and then you stop it and step into it. How did y'all, was it teamwork, or did you have to come to terms, Scott, with yourself and how y'all were going to accept that risk as a family?
So you'll appreciate this, and I think anybody who's listening, especially men, will appreciate this. Teamwork is the first piece of saying like, hey, together we'll figure it out, and trusting that. But what does that trust really mean? Like right now, there's a lot of lessons I can teach you in a really articulate way because I know it from a book or I've taught it for a while. But there's 3 levels of true understanding to be able to teach. There's one, the seed has been planted. So I've read the books, I can speak the language, and people might trust me. They're like, oh, wow, he can really do it. The next level, I always point to my heart when I say it. It's planting the seed. Now it's started to get out of my mind, and I'm sorry, it's digesting or fertilizing. So we got the plant of the seed, and then we're digesting it. At that point, we start to say, oh, maybe I really do believe this. The thing that really transitions us to success is full embodiment. And stop and listen to that for a second, because anyone listening, especially a guy, it's full embodiment. You know, when you sell yourself on something, you go, we can do this. Oh, we got it. We could definitely do it. And you say it to each other, then you go to bed and you're laying there all night and go, what the hell did we just do? So that is going to be the subconscious mind fighting you until your conscious mind and your subconscious mind become friends and say, we exist together. You honestly will have resistance, and failure is going to be the outcome. It really is. So watch this. How do we very quickly move into a space of embodiment? I'm going to give you the golden nugget right here. You've got to honestly believe it. And to really believe it, you've got to trust in something bigger. You can call it God, universe, creator. It doesn't matter how you define it, but you've got to align yourself with that, because that's the superconscious. So imagine, just visualize this. Scott, in this waking moment on a podcast, you're like, I like that guy. Sounds like he knows what he's talking about. And then I go back and go, Kim, did I say anything that was true, or am I just full of crap? If Scott can consistently be the same being across the board, that's when embodiment occurs. So to answer the question for me, once embodiment came, the magic that we call magic comes. So and I'm going to show you a scientific piece of this, and you're going to appreciate this. There's a movie called Heal that talks about something called what's the word they use? There's a word that they're using, I forget. It's what's the word I was saying the other day, Kim?
I don't remember. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, if it's over 3 syllables, you get a pass.
Yeah, it is. It's a few. It's like conference or something like that. But the long story short, what's happening there is if I say that I can do this, my body gets flooded with good, chemicals. So I'm getting oxytocin, I'm getting endorphins, the right amount of adrenaline to make success happen. So I'm literally creating a foundation for magic. Now watch if I say I can't, even if it's in the subconscious mind. I'm flooded with cortisol. And people you go, oh, they're just older, that's why they don't look good anymore. No. You're getting flooded with negative emotions, which are literally saying you can't, because it starts with the chemicals, comes with the emotions, then the belief and the reality follow. So think of this. If you just say, I'm going to be fine, you embody it, the chemicals start flowing in, the magic is happening scientifically within you. So this isn't luck. It's really not luck. It's exactly the way life's supposed to work. And we've forgotten our brilliance, our divinity, and our connection to source, creator, universe, God, whatever you want to call it.
I think it's really interesting. It reminds me of, we've talked about this before, Dad, the Richard Thaler's concept when he talks about the behavioral science of the thinker versus the doer. Because Scott, as you talk about the conscious and the subconscious, connecting the two, that's exactly what it reminds me of, is that we all have this thinker who's looking on the big scale and is like, hey, this is what I'm doing next year, this is what I want to do tomorrow so I can reach my goals for next year, all that kind of stuff. And then we have the doer who comes in, to use the economic term of just maximizing utility on a daily basis. Of just, hey, what can I do today? I want to eat as much food as possible because that makes me feel good right now. And it's connecting those two is how you reach that point where you can be more effective inside your life. And I love that connection there with the conscious and subconscious. But then the other piece I think that's really interesting is you talked about, I can do this and accepting that. And that brings me to, the Stoic idea of the amor fati and accepting your fate. And there's one piece of that frankly, when I think of this and when I do my own work, it's something that bugs me a little bit about it. I want to get y'all's opinion on it. Is amor fati, it's accepting your fate, whatever it is. To me, that creates a little bit of a safety net, which is good because we don't want to go crashing and have our lives fall apart. But it's good to know that I will be okay no matter what. But then there's always this part of me that thinks that a safety net, you don't really commit yourself. That whole
Amen.
idea that you need to go all in if you're really going to do something. And so I would just want to throw that back over to you, Scott. What do you think about that safety net idea or anything in there?
I'll answer this quick for me. I always say quick for me, and then I'll pass it on to Kim. So I think, so first of all, it's very funny that you say that, because I teach business at the college level, and we always talk about plans, and there's 4 basic types of plans in business, the 4th being contingency plan. I literally tell people, throw out the contingency plan, because those who focus on 5 different ways that we might fail, I can guarantee you what you focus on becomes a reality. So let's put that away. The safety net, I think in this situation, what you're talking about, like the Stoic idea, without question, the safety net is our divinity and our truth. If we were put here by divine purposes with a brilliance to share, the safety net is the reality that we're supposed to be here. That's all you need to know. What plays out, so in other words, how your brilliance plays out, that's based on your choices. So your idea of safety in this existence might not be as safe as you want. You might get hurt, you might break some ribs, you might fail, you might lose. But here's the thing. In your permanent truth, your divine state, you are eternally safe. Are you safe in this present moment and from something that might happen today? Well, perception would say no, and you're probably correct. But ultimately, you're safe. So think of this. The safety is knowing darn well the brilliance that you were given, whether you found it yet or not, needs to be shared with this world because you were given that. So that's what you should be looking for in safety, is finding your truth and sharing it and letting the game play out with good choices and believing in self.
Kim, did you want to add something to that? Because I mean, that's some deep shit there. So.
It is deep. Yeah, I have some deep thoughts as well. So over the years, I have been, and it's a practice, I've been practicing really opening myself up to what the universe has in store. So not trying to plan all the details and every step of the way, and just planting the seeds, like Scott said, and letting the universe have its imagination. Because what I've found over the years is that the universe steps up and brings it tenfold of what I could have ever imagined. So what I love about having the feeling of safety is the feeling that I am on my journey and this is meant to be, whatever that is. That's my feeling of safety, right? And I have the opportunity to control aspects of it because I'm planting the seeds. Like what do I want to grow, right? So if you just let yourself say, well, whatever will be, well, that's giving up part of your creation, right? Your creative juices, all the things. So allow yourself to plant those seeds. What I like to do is plant seeds that are from a 10,000 foot view. For instance, with my business, right? I have a YouTube channel, Yoga with Meditation Mother. And what I said to myself was, I would like to reach tens of thousands of people so that I can help support them in their journey, right? And I just kind of threw it out there, really broad statement. I wrote it down, actually, put it away. A couple of years later, I'm just kind of very slowly growing, whatever, on my YouTube channel. And so I get this call from a company, and they want me to shoot videos, yoga videos, internationally at all these different resorts around the world, because they want to use the yoga videos for Medicare, for a Medicare company that's going to send it to tens of thousands of people that are over the age of 65 as a perk for their insurance, right? So I never thought of that, right? But what I did think of is, like, I want to reach and help a lot of people. And the universe said, hey, this is the way we're going to do it. So without attachment to the journey, right? The result or the manifestation will show up. And that's how I feel safe, is just knowing that when I plant the seeds, that it's going to show up in some way without the attachment of the end result.
Amen.
I love it. I love it. And Camden, when you were talking, I was thinking of some of my experiences in the Middle East, and the infamous phrase that meant, truthfully, nothing was going to happen. Inshallah, God willing. And it goes back to even what you both of y'all were saying, Kim and Scott, in that, well, you can just say that and sit in the chair on the front porch and expect business to arrive, or expect that, that lottery check to come in because you're putting it out to the universe. But what y'all both have said, which I think is the critical aspect of this, is you got to be looking for it. You have to be willing and open. You know, the old adage of if somebody's knocking at the door, you ought to open it, right? I mean,
Yes.
it is that simple of a thing. And as we move from this, and by the way, that's pretty cool, Kim, that you had like, a few hundred folks on YouTube, and all of a sudden somebody's knocking on your door. Hey, go around and take some more, do some of that yoga stuff in these different places. Boom. Yeah, I bet. But what I'm always curious about in this, there's the hard aspect of this, because this is a business. How have you taken the abstract, I want to give and help tens of thousands of people. I want to shape other people's lives. I want them to be happy into a business, so that, there's, remember that golden handcuffs we talked about earlier? So that we can start to have money come into our bank account instead of going out of it.
Yeah. Do you want to answer that, Scott, or I have a thought if it
You
feels
go first.
good?
You go first.
Yeah.
Ladies before gentlemen.
Thank you. I would say for me is that I began to believe in my passions. And when you follow your passion, it's going to light you up. Physically increase your vibrational state. So we're getting into woo-woo stuff here. I don't know how that feels for you, but and it is centered around love. So
I'm going to step back a little bit is what I'm going to
But for me, when I follow my passion, my creativity, I start to light up. And then my vibration, physical, energetic vibration at every cell of my being starts to vibrate at a higher level. So then I start to attract the right people, the right circumstances to me. And I wasn't a believer until I kept playing with myself. I was like my own guinea pig. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm just manifesting left and right because I'm just elevating myself. I'm doing what lights me up. And then what happened was, I created this business, and then over time, the money just started coming because I kept following my passion, and people felt that energy and they were attracted to me. So whenever I talk to someone that's going, off to college, I always offer them, don't feel like you have to go be a lawyer or a doctor because that's making the big bucks, or, perception of that. Follow what you love, because the money will come later in some form. And it might not be in dollars. It might be in time. It might be in travel. It might be in resources, whatever it is, but it's going to light you up. And that's what the world needs, is people that have been lit up.
Yeah, 100%. And I was like little analogies because different ones will resonate or they will work with different people. So to echo what she said in a slightly different way, one of the things that I do in a way to generate revenue is I'm a coach. And so between podcasts and between coaching, between teaching, I help many people look into the mirror and figure out that they've always been the one they've been searching for and find their brilliance and share it with the world. So my purpose is to empower those who might have lost hope and or are struggling, find their brilliance and share it with the world. I do that with every vehicle. How I do it, and it echoes what she's saying, and I want you guys to think about this. Whoever's listening right now, if I were to give you the best piece of advice, but I led it with this, you know what you need to do. Just sit and see how that feels to you. You know what you need to do. Anything I say after this is going to be ignored because I'm telling you how you need to live your life, and quite honestly, that's the way it should be, because you are the brilliance that you've been looking for. So, how can I show people what they need to do without saying you know what you need to do? And she already said it. Visualize that we're a radio station. If as a radio station we have an antenna that's a small antenna and I'm running around the neighborhood going, you need to listen to this, you need to do this, you need to do this, everyone's going to ignore me and the radio station is going to close down. But if I create the best frequency, in other words, I'm the best version of me, so that just is being shared far and wide, Someone's going to see the way I behave or something I do on social media. Somebody's going to see a comment I make. Somebody's going to see the consistency. Somebody's going to be in my classroom. And guess what happens? The world instantly changes because of the bright light that I'm portraying, because I found what lit me up and I'm doing it, and people go, I want that. Kind of like when Harry Met Sally, where everyone looks over and they're like, I'll have what she's having. It's the exact same thing. You get to a point where the world sees you and says, I want to follow that model. And so you're becoming that which you complain the world isn't. And listen to that one more time. You're becoming that which you're complaining the world isn't. So when I say that person's mean, they don't listen, they're bad, they suck, be the opposite. Be everything you want the world to be. And I promise you, the world will see you. Because I know for a fact sometimes when I'm feeling down or not connected, email, phone call, former student, you changed my life. And it happens every single day, all day, and that's not a bragging thing. That's me knowing I'm in alignment and that my antenna is high and that people are seeing what I'm doing. And when you're off kilter, you might get less of that, and then you know, am I being authentic, transparent, and true to myself? And then you can make adjustments. So that's what I would share with that.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Cam and Otis Show. If you're enjoying this conversation, then make sure to share it with other lifelong learners in your life so they can enjoy it too. Stay up to date with the show on Facebook and Instagram at Cam and Otis Show, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube so you're the first to hear about new episodes and other special content. Now let's get back to the show.
That's so powerful, and
I think
you know, sorry, that was I thought Camden was going to say something, but I've got.
yeah, and
No,
I thought you were going to go.
That,
So
that happens
that's
every
what
once in a while between us, believe it or not. You know, that you manifest. There's so many different things that y'all have said, and I go back to you find what you look for, right? You hate what it is in the world that you hate about yourself, and there's so many things about that. I actually want to shift gears because y'all are doing something with the youth that I just love. You know, Camden and I are passionate about that legacy and that impact, and how you are shaping I wouldn't even say the next generation, because, you know, for me, Camden's the next generation. I'm talking about the next generation. How did you go from, I'll just say it like I'm thinking it, helping peers to I need to do more at the grassroots?
I'll share on that real fast. So initially, the goal of an idea was an idea, and it was a philosophy. It's how do we instill the idea of amplifying the senses so you connect more deeply to this world, so you're really living your truth, and then remove the baggage by forgiving self and others, eliminating needs and old belief systems, accepting yourself and others where you're at in the journey, and rising up and be resilient. That was a philosophy. That was, you know, a list of values, things that you could follow. Who do you give it to? So at first it was kind of, you know, hand it to your peers. Then organically you wanted to go into corporations and change them. And then I said, let's go into schools. So we'd have a couple thousand kids in a high school or middle school. Here's what I want to say, and this is a great place to say it. The world has not been ready for that yet. And I'm going to tell you why. And this is in complete transparency. What happens when you go into schools is when I speak to those kids and I move them. And when I say I move them, I hold the mirrors to allow a movement to occur in them. There's tears, there's joy, there's, I think I see what I can do to find my brilliance, I'm ready. And then they turn to their teachers, their coaches, their principals, their parents, and guess what I just did? They're not ready to receive that message, so I create a disservice because I actually help those kids to find an enlightened view, a new perspective on this world, and then they get shut down, and I actually am creating a calcification of it's almost like a pain, and they have to calcify over it to say, nobody's ready to help me on that. And so I have to be very careful in the communities with which I do this. And so what I've done is I've backed off a little going into the schools because the communities aren't ready to receive this. So I'm exploring, and I'd love to get feedback from anybody who's listening. But if you've got a community that can support the message and make it continue and not and Otis, you're a perfect example for this. You or I'm sure as kids are very similar. We're sitting in a space of gotta be a man, gotta be tough, don't hug me, shut your mouth, leave me alone. Well, those are the parents, and they're not bad at all. They're responding saying, what is this bullshit? Why are you crying? And they're literally sad because they don't know what to do, and it actually creates a problem. So we have to either teach the community as a whole, and that takes a lot of planning and acceptance, or teach the leaders within the community. So I'm actually full circle back to finding teachers to do a teacher empowerment program, or corporate leaders who might be on the school board, and they can go in and start creating this. But the reality is, it's very difficult to teach in the schools, and I've actually had to back out a little bit because there's a disservice if they're not ready, because one message just confuses the kids. Does that resonate, or does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, totally. I think in the entrepreneur in me, I think is looking at that because it reminds me of a show I actually watched last night from the TV show Atlanta, and they were talking about this big business, and they're trying to get back to communities in Atlanta and doing all this kind of stuff. And they go, the guy pulls them aside and goes, dude, why do you think they would give money to businesses to get people to stop buying their stuff? Like you're trying to get the system to fight itself. You can't do that. And I think that's a really interesting way of looking at it, is that and I think you said this, Scott, is it's not necessarily an indictment on the school system or system as much as it is a recognition of, right, exactly, recognize what it is and what it isn't, right? And treat it for what it is and for what it isn't. And what it isn't is what you're talking about there. And so to me, I think that's looking for, like you said, that other avenue to where you can affect that change. And that's why I said this is the entrepreneur in me, where it's like, well, okay, it's not a school, but what is it? You know, Dad, we've had this conversation before about values and stuff. Okay, well, if it's not church that everybody needs, what is it? Like, what, you've got to kind of flip the script a little bit in that and try to create these other systems. And because there's no point, I think Scott Mann said this when we were talking about veteran transition, Dad, that there's no point just going into the machine and then raging against it, being upset and being, oh, we're in here, oh gosh, this is all wrong, because then you're not going to get any progress. You have to create a different situation to where things can actually move forward on that. And I think that's the interesting problem for a lot of these things, is that we can look at these systems that are broken, or systems that aren't serving the needs properly, is a better way to put it, and we can want to change them. But I think the better thing usually is to create another system, just a complementary system that can help out.
And you actually just segued, like it's interesting because you're following it. Like the natural response is, I'm mad, this sucks, and then there's a resistance, and then you complain. And so, I'm way past that phase, and I'm in a phase where another thing might be camps, like leadership camps. So the kids go back in who are ready to make the shift, and I don't want to say in spite of, but despite the messages from parents or teachers, they're going to take a lead and start teaching from within. Because listen, as a college professor, my students teach me as much as I teach them in different aspects. And so if we get a bunch of high school seniors or 8th graders in the middle school going in and making some shifts in themselves which cause a change in the school, the teachers have to see that. The parents have to see that. And they eventually they'll be like, hey, what is it that you're doing again? Like, what are you preaching? What's this all about? And listen, everybody wants to grow. We're going to have some resistance. Nobody's the bad guy. And so if we can do it through leadership camps, and here's the thing that I actually hate, or if we have to do it at private schools that they're more easily malleable. Like, I'm trying to go to the schools that I think need it most, but the simple reality is some of the private schools, here we go again, we're going to give them one more advantage. As long as they take that advantage and they go into life and help those who are less fortunate and be leaders, not to create more difference and not more polarity, but to create more equity, if they take this and they use this right, I'm completely comfortable doing that, even though that's not the way I wanted it to be. Because like Kim said earlier, the universe has a different plan. Shut up and do it, Scott, as long as it happens. So
I think there's some.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kim, please.
Well, I was just going to say, just to, I guess, maybe in alignment with what Scott's saying, what I found for him, where he's most impactful is the long-term relationship investment. So he gets to have a whole semester with his college kids. And in the beginning, they're all tight, right? like Otis, right? Where, like, I don't want to talk about love. I don't want to tap into my feelings, all this stuff. And over time, it's like the flower starts to open, the heart starts to open, and they see a change. And it takes time and a consistent message and a loving, slow process, because no one wants to be ripped open, right? They want to unravel slowly. Same thing when I hold my retreats, it's over a long period of time. And we're working in the beginning, it's very like 10,000 foot. And then the next day we kind of dig a little deeper. Before you know it, like people don't even know what hit them. They're like loving and hugging and, all the things, because it happened gradually. And so when you go into a school and it's a 1 hour program, it's very, very hard. You hit the emotion and then there's nowhere to process it. And so over longer periods of time are definitely more impactful with programs like that.
I agree. And there's so many other programs that I've been part of, and we'll just leave it at that. But let's just say they weren't happening here in the U.S. that were long-term programs that were not continued, that were doing very well. Which also
Can I wanted to add real quick that just because I think there's so many different examples of this that, what we're talking about here, I think we're in the more abstract realm because we're talking about teaching and learning and leading. Like that goes in more at the abstract realm. But the same lesson is true in so many different really nonprofit and NGO, call them case studies. You think back to, rewind about 15 to 20 years ago. Biggest thing you could do to help out starving children is to ship them shoes. And then it comes back that they're getting the shoes and then their calluses are no longer on their feet and it's hurting them more in the long run than if we had just done, X, Y, Z. Or, any sort of, talking about helping impoverished communities. Giant cash transfer, solve it all right now. Doesn't really work. It takes me back to, sorry, I'll stop myself in this rabbit hole, but a program called Progressa, anyone wants to Google it. It's a very interesting program for development economics in Mexico. But it's like you find this long-term game where you're playing it smarter. We get this tendency to go for the brute force, solve it right now, throw the money at it, those type of things. But we have to realize that if you really want to change something, you've got to.
And that's why Kiva and microloans work so well, because people know what they need. So there's a woman who's sitting and she wants to open up a pottery business but doesn't have the $200 to start the business. Literally, like, she can get a microloan that she can pay back in 6 months and have an operative business. Like, she knows what she needs to be successful. Give them what they're asking for in a small form and allow payback, so you create responsibility and accountability. Whereas we're like, just throwing darts at walls saying this will heal something. Like, I don't know for a fact. I can't say I know. Go Love Now is not going to save the planet because I said it at one perspective. Now I know it works because I've seen it, but there's still a lot that needs to be pulled versus pushed. They need to come and say, this is what we need to be supported with. Who can assist with this support? But you've got to start with your own brilliance, and you've got to start with your own level of hope and belief and embodiment that I can make this change work. So yeah, you're right. There's a lot of moving parts there.
Yeah, well, and where my mind was going is back to my good old fashioned days of unconventional warfare, and it's the insurgency, it's the people, it's the ground roots that make the difference. That's where the change is really happening. And truthfully, in America, we could even talk about where does change happen? It happens at the local level, not at the national level, right? Local politics, local change. All these things are where we make the impact and how it truly takes root. Because anything that's pushed from the top down is never passionately adopted by the people that are doing it. But when you get the people that are doing it, wanting to make the change, believing it in their heart, that's the difference in making the change. And so I think that's the power of getting to the youth, the kids that can start to accept it and understand it, and emotionally strong enough to, for lack of a better way of putting it, stand up to mom and dad, stand up to, the education system that they're currently in to make that difference. And you said something that reminded me, because I always love to ask this, but you said something that reminded me of both of y'all's previous corporate lifestyles of sales. And that was giving them what they need. is that has that been a key element of your continued growth and success outside the corporate world with your own business?
I can answer that for myself. So, yeah, so over time, I've really honed in on the practice of feeling the energy in the room, feeling what people need. So when I create experiences, let's say a weekend women's retreat, I have all this stuff planned, one after the other, of like all these different experiences that are in my head. And what I've noticed over time is when I just feel into the room, well, maybe this one doesn't work right now. And I'm just going to put that aside with no attachment and just move into what people need, what's going on in the moment, what emotions are coming up, what can I address, how can I help them feel more. And so when I tune into that, instead of having attachment on my agenda, like I have to do this thing and then the next thing is this thing, I find it works so much better and the people get a much higher level experience. They walk away and they don't know why, but it's because they were involved in the experience. They were involved in the creation.
I'd say exact correct, and I don't like to say things are right or wrong because there's levels of whatever. But that would be the right answer to that, I think, too, because we co-create, some of these retreats together. And when I do smaller men's retreats by myself, it never goes according to my plan because we're sitting here doing breath work and I had a thing planned 20 minutes later. But one of the guys starts telling his childhood story of how it was just horrible and everybody surrounds him. And suddenly we're all holding each other and we're chanting Om and feeling the vibration and then we're crying and that wasn't planned. And that sounds like weird and fluffy, but when you're in the moment, you're like, oh my God, I never knew I needed this. And I'm like, neither did I. I was ready to cook some steaks and you guys started crying and joking, of course. But you inspire, shift, change, emotion, and all these things. And when it comes, I can't predict that. If you look at my 12-week virtual coaching program, I'll always try to, because it's human nature, I'll look at a person going, this is the week they're going to make the big change. Sure enough, I'm wrong. And there's a week that I'm just talking through the lesson and they're literally bawling going, I was doing the meditation and this happened. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's a surprise. And the beauty is the surprise in stopping, being present in the moment to support that person. And that's what the world needs more of. The world needs less, I'm going to guess what you're going to do because I know so much and I've been here before and I've done it, and more, hey, here we are in this present moment. I'll support you in this present moment. And here we are and let me help you heal. That feels a lot better than the former. So you'll see that 20 times out of 20. So yeah, perfect answer, Kim.
Yeah, it reminds me of this great lesson that our friend Taki taught us about a year or so ago. Because I was doing this. It's like I know all this stuff. I'm going to dump all this stuff on you because all this stuff is going to help you. Sure. And man, how many times have we done that in our lives in various aspects? I mean, I was thinking about when I was coaching rugby too. I may have thought we needed to do these 3 drills, but as I'm watching that first drill, I realize we got to go back to this other drill and do that. And it's meeting them, even in a sports aspect, which I hadn't thought about until today. Meeting that individual, that player in that case, or the coachee, the client, the person who's joined in on your retreat, meeting them where they're at so that they can have and gain more of what they want. That's powerful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and Scott knows because we co-host retreats together, and he holds individual retreats as well. But the retreat isn't about us as the leaders showing up and guiding people. It's everyone who shows up that creates the collective magic. And so what I've noticed over time and what I've learned in my own growth is just to let that happen, because that's what elevates people, is that connective energy that you feel in the space, and the opportunity to just show up exactly who you are and feel held in that space. It's really very powerful. I mean, the biggest gift you can give to someone is to just listen and be present, right? It's the biggest gift. If we just shut up, zipped our lips, and had someone talk towards us and just received it instead of responding all the time, gosh, how much more heard would they be felt? Like it's just a really elevated
Yeah,
experience.
it just reminds me of
That
something Scott, you'd said, and it comes back to being authentic and truthfully, as a leader, it's being confident enough to realize you're not the smartest person in the room. And if you're not the smartest person in the room, you ought to shut up and listen. And you know what? If you are the smartest person in the room, Dick,
Get out of the room.
that room, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and I would take it to another level because I'm thinking, going to the coaching environment, around rugby. One of the best things you can do for a team is shut up as the leader, is let someone else talk. Like, I don't know how many times and I have a great leadership group with, myself, the other coaches, and then our captains with U of A rugby. But the amount of times I'll go in, I'll be like, okay, I got these 4 things I need to say before this kickoff, before we go, before practice or whatever it is. The amount of times I go over there and I'll start listening, and I realize that they're all saying the same things. It's like, oh, okay, good. They listened all week. I can step back, let them lead. Because you got to recognize when it's not a time for your voice, right? And I think, talking about the leadership aspects, I want to go back to, when we're talking about leading behavior change, we go back to the modeling aspect that we were talking about earlier. And one question came to mind for me during that. I'm throwing out my favorite classic rock quote, Dad. Yes, it's officially a Cam and Otis show episode because I'm quoting some rock band. But Leonard Skinner, we always talk about earn while you learn. That they would go, and before they were any good, they would get a bunch of gigs, and they would go be playing at bars and birthday parties, and they were making money while they were still trying to figure out what their sound was, how to get better, all those kind of things. When we talk about modeling, it reminds me of, and I don't know the exact phrase, but it's some historical phrase along the lines of, find your path and then show others the path once you find yours. I think the issue that I'm running into when I kind of square those two is this idea that it's like, okay, well, I'm still finding my path and I'm trying to show others because I want to help others. And so, Kim, I want to just throw it over to you, and I'll word it more simply for the sake of the question of, is it better to stop trying to help others, find your path, get it all 100% right? Or should we take the Leonard Skinner route, little earn while you learn? And, hey, I want to show you this. I'm not sure if I'm 100% right, but I want to show you this path forward. Which way would you say is the best way forward?
So for me, it's always do it as you go. I mean, I always show up, even if I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I say yes, and then I figure it out. And I tell people along the way. So, it's not like I'm pretending to be this like know-it-all, that's got it all together. I mean, I have many people that are, young yoga instructors that are like, wow, I want to hold yoga retreats like you. And, how do you fill your classes and blah, blah, all this stuff. And I can give them some general info, and it's their journey, right? It's very individual. I can't give them a cookie cutter way of doing anything because I'm me and I'm selling me and my energy and my creativity, and they're them and they're selling their energy and their creativity. It's going to be totally different. It's like thumbprints, right? Everyone's a little bit different. And so I highly recommend, anytime my friends call me, they're like, I have this opportunity. I'm really nervous. I'm like, just say yes, just do it. And you're going to figure it out. And what's going to happen is your higher self is going to step up and be like, yeah, I know how to do that. And they're going to just take over and you're going to surprise yourself. So I say, do it along the way, help people along the way, admit that you don't know everything, and just, say, this is my path. Your path is going to look different.
Yeah.
Scott, did you want to add? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's funny, one of the fun things about being a professor is students call me all the time for opinions, and you brought up something that's the reality, Otis, is I've got a head full of damn good information of how to do things well. And I used to, especially as a salesperson, I used to want to tell you all the things that you can know and take this gold and you're going to be a champion. Well, that creates confusion, and so what I do now is I say, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? They're calling me because they know I know, but they're calling me for validation, which echoes what Kim was saying of like, do you think I can? And it's like, I see you, like Avatar, I see you, I know you know you, do you even need to call me? And then I'll pull one nugget. I'll pull one nugget out and say like, hey, when I was sitting where you were sitting, here's a piece of resistance. What would you do to overcome this? And they'll go this, and I go, sounds like you already got it. And then I get off the phone, where normally I'd want to be like, okay, remember we talked about chapter 3 and chapter 5. If you do this and use these 4 Ps and use this SWOT analysis and you do this, you've got. And then they're like, dude, I wasn't trying to rewrite my business plan. I just wanted to know if it would work. And so simple affirmation, and let them utilize you and be that, Camden said it, that beautiful, empowered listener. Hey, you're already saying the right things. You got this. Do you even need me? I'll be here to support you, but you got this. And that's, I think that comes with some age and some wisdom and being that leader, that you don't have to give all the info. Just say, this is the direction. And I see you going the right way, and I'm excited for you.
Well, and it goes back to that being confident in yourself, right? Because I think a lot of times what we're doing is we're dumping all of our information out to prove to ourselves and whoever else might be around that we're smart. We know what we're doing, as opposed to well, let me just listen and think about that. And as I sat here today and listened and think about things, there's my Texas English coming out. See, I told y'all at the beginning of the show this was going to happen, and yep, sure enough, it did. But man, when I started to think about and sitting here, having this privilege to sit here and listen to y'all, and thinking about what I learned, and I love this statement because I'm huge on this also, is you're in your permanent truth, you are safe. And, the way I always talk about it is being your authentic self, but that's another great way of putting it is thinking about in your permanent truth, you are safe. And what could go wrong, right? I mean, what truly could go wrong for you if you truly believe that. And that's a powerful launch pad to go forward and do anything. Camden, how about you? What'd you learn?
Well, I got a stoic double dip then, because you remind me right there. Marcus Aurelius says, "Inside each man's mind is an impenetrable fortress. You can retreat inside anytime you want." I think that's one of the key things we're talking about, is that everything you need is inside. And I think what I learned was, talking about amor fati, and I kind of said, full disclosure.
It's episode of the Cam Notice Show. If you're enjoying this conversation, then make sure to share it with other lifelong learners in your life so they can enjoy it too.
But then
stay up to date with the show on Facebook and Instagram at Cam Notice Show, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube so you're the first to hear about new episodes and other special content.
But just know that you're going to be safe no matter what. That impenetrable fortress is still impenetrable. You can always retreat inside if you want. You're always going to be safe there, but you can still bust your ass and keep working towards it.
You reminded me of what might be becoming one of my favorite quotes, and I can't remember who said it, so I'm going to have to look it up again, is pray for rain, but dig a well. Right?
Absolutely.
I mean, Kim, how about you? What'd you learn?
Yeah, I love that we all came and come from different backgrounds, but we all are very open to experience and to learning and to getting to know each other. And I think that's one of the biggest foundations of life, is that we can be, as humans, open to differences and really expand our heart and better understand someone and realize that we're all the same. We all want to be happy. We all want to have happiness for our families, and that's the bottom line. And so I love talking with both of you and Scott as well on this conversation, because it really expanded my heart just to be open to getting to know new people and perspective. Really awesome. Enjoyed it.
Scott, how about you? What'd you learn?
There's 2 more people in this world that I like. So there's more, and
where are they at?
I've been looking for them. Right? They're out there. But the funny thing about this too is, and I know the world starts to see this. Everyone says keep your circle small because you got to keep things tight. I battle that every single day. I sit here in a space where I want to have a tight circle, but I meet so many people I like that I'm always like, is this a bad thing? Because how do you hang out with all these people? And I think it's perfectly fine to have a lot of people that you like and you might share a moment of brilliance with, or a connection, or just a listening moment, or one empowerment, connection. It doesn't matter. But go out there and share your brilliance and connect, because that's what we need to be doing. And that's echoed here today. So
That's awesome. I love that because I find myself in that very same dilemma quite often. Man, I really enjoyed talking to that guy. Can he come over to the house? He's out in South Carolina, but I want to go hang out and barbecue with him, sort of thing, right? So, Scott? How do folks follow you? Get in touch with you?
If you want to get in touch with me, you can go check out my website at scottgoyette.com, and you can take a peek at the origins of Go Love Now. It's still on golovenow.com. It talks about the youth programs, which we're still open to doing in the right circumstance. We're going to be modifying that website and kind of changing it, as Camden said, the new entrepreneurial ideas. Maybe there's better ways to focus it. If you want to get in touch with me directly too, it's just scott at golovenow.com or scott at scottgoyette.com. At either of those places. And Kim's got something she's got to share too, a book that, one of our big things that we do as well is we travel around the world doing these retreats, and we're a big proponent of international travel because we're a big proponent of perspective. And anytime you can see the world from the eyes of others, that is the most amazing education you'll ever receive. And I'll hand it over to my better half.
Yeah, so we had an opportunity to take our daughter around the world. We took off for a year in 2018 and we went to visit 26 different countries, and we learned so much about ourselves and about other cultures and different perspectives, religions, everything. So I was inspired to write a book. I can prop it up here. It's called Just Plain Crazy: The Ultimate Guide to Affordable, Adventurous World Travel. And the reason why I bring it up here is because we talked a little bit about manifesting, and here it gives you the step-by-step guideline of how to manifest your world travel dreams. We're not rich. We didn't have a big load of money in the bank, and we made it happen, came back with zero debt, and had a very high level super experience. And so I invite you, if you want to learn some funny stories and get to know us really well, I write a lot of personal stories and faux pas and funny stuff that happened to us along the way. So you can check that out. And then if you're interested in learning about yoga retreats that are happening all around the world, you can check out my website at www.mutha.com, or check out my Yoga with Meditation Mother YouTube channel, and you can do yoga around the world with me.
And I'm usually in the background peeking in with a drink in my hand.
Who's that guy?
Kind of like
Right,
Bob Barker
exactly.
and what was it, Happy Gilmore, where he peeks out in the woods. I just peek out. I'm like, hey.
Hey.
Hi guys. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, I'm really glad you spelled mother, because I spell with a lot more letters, but I say it the same way.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's meant to be fun. It's supposed to be said like meditation, mother.
Well, you know what? I really appreciate y'all being here. Scott, I know been there, done that with some injuries and back pain and pushing through it. So I'm here for you on that, man, and I really appreciate y'all doing that. And Kim, it's so great to have you here also.
Thank you.
It was lovely to be here. Thank you for having
guys.
us.
Appreciate you both.
Camden, run us out.
All right. Thank you all for listening to the Camp and Otis Show, and special thanks to our guests, Kim Goyette and Scott Goyette, for joining us today. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to pass it along to someone else so they can enjoy it too. Make sure to follow the Camp and Otis Show on Facebook and Instagram, and you can watch full videos of the show on our YouTube page. While you're there, make sure you hit that subscribe button too. As always, the full archive of our episodes is available at www.camandotisshow.com. Thanks again. We'll see y'all next time.